Hey, this is Passy from Passy's World of ICT, the guy with the white hat. The guy who does the totally awesome Python videos. And we got another one today. And this one we're going to learn how to draw a spider web, and then we'll make it all nice colors. And we're going to revisit some old projects and revamp them a bit into much better colors. So drawing with RGB colors is what this lesson is all about. And we're going to build on the skills you've done previously. So you need to have done lessons 1 to 4. And using these RGB colors, they're exact color values, and you get much better, broader, brighter selection of more colors that you can use in your project. So these are two of the two colorful drawings, the main ones we're going to make in this project. We're going to learn how to make a spider web. Then we'll learn how to make every kind of all these different colors for each hexagon that gets drawn in the spider web. And here we're going to go back to our old squares one in the corner, and we're going to make it alternate colors, like between purple and yellow, and have alternating colors to look a lot better. So if you don't know what lessons 1 to 4 are, we will show you right now. Okay, so if you go to the Passy's World of ICT website page and go on the Python tab here, that'll show you our Python programming course that we're doing at the moment. We're starting off with Turtle Graphics to learn it. So when we're talking about lessons 1 to 4, obviously you need to know how to use PyScripter or PyCharm or MU, whatever interface you're using. And you need to know about how to draw shapes. You need to know how to do multiple shapes by lifting the pen up and moving along. You need to know about repeating patterns, because that's where we did all the squares coming out from the corner. So you need to have done this program, so you've got that other program sitting around with all of the squares, and then you'll be able to make them into these alternating color squares in this using RGB colors lesson, all right? So that's where we're up to so far in our Python course, and you need to do these lessons in order. You can't jump around, because each one you do uses skills that you've learnt in the previous lesson. So it's a step-by-step development. So, like we just showed you, the Python programming course is on passyworldofict.com/Python, so that's the best place to go. And that's also where you go to click on to get a lesson and get a particular download files. Now, the learning objectives for this lesson are we're going to learn how to use RGB 0 through 255 color values, which are exact color values, and they provide an almost infinite range of colors, because you can get about 16 million colors altogether, so that's pretty infinite. Also, we should mention at this stage, we can be a bit of a slow talker. So go to the cog on the player toolbar of the video. So down the video player, there's a tools cog, a round circle with bumps on it. Go to that guy, click it, and change this play speed to like 1.5 or 1.75x, and you might find the video flows better for you at a higher speed. We're going to use a really long if-elif statement. So this is kind of the if it's something or other, but if it's not, otherwise do something else. So it'll be if-elif. And that's kind of how we're going to make all those colors change as it goes through the spider web, drawing all of those hexagons, and you're going to see that in the lesson. And we're also going to use alternating colors, like you saw with that purple and yellow on the squares coming from the corner. And the trick there is that on every even number, we want it to change over to the other color. And so you can do whatever your loop count is up to %2. That's when we divide it by 2. If the remainder comes out exactly equal, double equals 0, then we'll know we're on an even loop, and we can do one particular color. And if we don't get remainder 0, we need to swap back to the other color. And we keep going as we work through all our loop numbers till we've done all of our squares. So that's going to be interesting as well. So they're the main things we're learning in this. So just a quick intro to RGB colors before we get into detail. RGB stands for red, green, and blue. So the colors you're seeing on this screen right now are made by mixing the primary colors red, green, and blue together. This is a typical way computer screens work. Now, if you want, for example, this exact teal color that's here, the mixture of red, green, and blue you need to use is you don't use any red at all, because that teal color is made by mixing green and blue together in exactly equal amounts, 153 and 153, and that's going to give you that nice color. If, however, you chose this hot pink color over here, you'll see that that has no blue in it, and that is made by mixing red, a lot of red, 255, the max amount of red, with no green and about half as much blue. And that will actually give you, red plus blue will actually give you hot pink. Okay, so the RGB color value for that one is 255,0127. But we're going to cover that in a lot more detail when we get into the step-by-step lesson. So there's several challenge tasks. This is the first one, a fairly simple one. We're going to go back to our triangle and stars program, so that's why you need to have done those previously. And we're going to make them much nicer, brighter colors by using RGB colors and picking our own exact colors. So let's get across into the PDF step-by-step instructions document, and we'll take you through that quickly so you know what we need to do in the learning, or what you need to do, what all of us need to do in the learning for this lesson, learning about how to make an infinite number of beautiful bright colors for our Python turtle drawing projects. Okay, so this is the step-by-step download for the Turtle Graphics Lesson 5 that we're doing today. So you can get this in the download. So in the YouTube description for the video, there'll be a link to go to the downloads where you can get these step-by-step instructions. So the RGB color spaces we talked about is mixing red, green and blue together, and you can actually make 256 times 256 is 16 million different colors by mixing red, green and blue. Who would have thought? That is amazing. So what happens is each pixel on your LED monitor, they're just red, green and blue LEDs, tiny little dots on this computer screen, which is making the picture right here. And each one's an electronics component called a light emitting diode, but they've managed to get them like pinpoint tiny to make these pixels colored little dots on the screen. So when the red pixel's set to 0, that'll turn the red LED off for that little dot, and you won't see any red. But if you set red to 255, like we've done here, so we've got 255 for red and 0 for all of the other colors, when it mixes it together for that dot, it'll make it pure bright red. So that's how you get pure red, just by using all red. 255 is the max color value you can use, okay? And it has to do with powers of 2, and it's actually 256, but we'll explain that later. It comes out 255. Now, if you want pure green, what you do is you have 0 for the red, 255, max value for the green, and you have 0 for the blue. And that'll make only the green diode out of the 3 diodes on that pixel dot glow, and so you'll see a pure green color. All right, and there's plenty of free online tools for getting colors. They give you a color palette, and as we saw, when you click on that color in the palette, it'll tell you the exact RGB, the red, green, blue mixture to use. And these red numbers go from 0 to 255 is the max, green goes from 0 to 255, and blue goes from 0 to 255 in the values you can use as well. Now, if you don't want to use an online color finder or color determinator for RGB, or perhaps if you don't have an internet connection at the moment, good old Microsoft Word, which most of us have on our computers, when you change like the letter color by clicking on this, if you go to more colors, you can then go to standard, and they kind of give you this big color picker of colors. So we really like this light blue color here, kind of in the middle. So we click on that, and it shows us what that light blue is going to look like. Now, if we want to use that light blue in our Python program, we need to know the RGB value. So what you do is, next to standard, there was a tab called custom. So once you've picked it on the sort of standard one, all this big color picker here, you can go to custom, and you can use that slider too here, that little triangle, to go darker or brighter. And if we just leave it where it is, because we want this nice blue, the numbers are 102, 204, and 255. That's a mixture of red, green, and blue. So we'd have RGB equals 102, 204, and 255. Okay, now we should tell you that some RGBs too use 1 as the max value instead of using 255, and then they use decimals. So if you had red as 0.9, that means you're using 90% of the max value of red. If you had blue as 0.5, that would mean you're using half of the max value as blue, okay? So sometimes you'll see them in decimal form, but we're just doing them in the number form where they range from 0 to 255. Okay, in terms of the computer, I'm not sure that we don't seem to mention it here, but in terms of the computer is actually doing, there's 1 to 256, 2 to the power of 0 is 1, and 2 to the power of, I'm not sure, 10 or 12 or something is 256. So that's how you get the 256 different colors. But then the way Python numbers things is from 0 to 255. It starts counting at 0 instead of at 1. And we're going to see that later when we set up a loop too about this kind of weird computer counting. In most software languages like VBNet's the same. They start counting at 0 instead of counting at 1. So if you want 256, you actually start at 0. That's number 1. And when you get to 255, you'll actually be at 256. But anyway, that's just trivia that we don't really need to know. So at the moment, down the bottom here, we've been using turtle color like just red, turtle fill color yellow, just the plain ordinary kind of little baby set of standard colors. But if we want to use, say, that blue color, you have to go turtle.color mode 255. Okay, that tells Python that you're using RGB values from 0 to 255. So you've got to have that line first to import that little module in so it knows you're doing RGB colors. Then for your fill color, you just go turtle.fillColor and put in the RGB value you want to use. Like we want to use 102, 204, 255. And for the pen color, we're just using where it's all red. So we've got 255, 00, all right? So if you want to use RGB values instead of these just standard red, blue, yellow colors, rather than put the name of the color in quote, you must have turtle.color mode first, somewhere up the top of your program. Once you've got that in there, you just put the RGB values into the fill color commands or the pen color commands instead of putting the name of the color in quotes, all right? So that's basically how it works, and this is where we finish the lesson, and thanks for watching. But no, wait, there's more. We got more for you, of course. So this was our square back when we did it in the original program. We just had a yellow square with red, so we just used the fill color equals yellow in quotes. If we want to get it that nice blue, that RGB blue, we will have to reorganize our program a little bit. So here we've taken what we had from the previous lesson and we've just reorganized a bit so that you have to do your background color first as black, right? Then we say turtle.color mode 255 because we want to use RGB colors. The fill color, we make that RGB value of that nice blue color, and the turtle pen color we're making yellow, which is actually a mixture of red and green, 255 and 255. If you do max red and max green, you actually get the color yellow, like shown at the bottom of the screen, that yellow color. So we're doing that, and that will give you the teal. Oh, actually we're using teal, we're not using sky blue. Okay, so we'll get the teal color here with the yellow border around it, okay? So you can pick and click on one of those online RGB color pickers or use Microsoft Word, work out your numbers, and then you can get any color you like in there. Now, if we don't reorganize the program to work like this, you will end up with this ugly black line across the bottom. Okay, so it's just a little technicality. We need to do background color, then we need to change our color mode. Then we can do our fill colors and pen colors as much as we like after that. All right, so challenge task 1 is to make some much brighter and better shapes from those previous lessons. So go to the first lesson where we drew a square and get a hot pink square, get a bright green square by using 255 for the green. Have a go at getting these different colored stars as well, and learn how to use these RGB bright colors just by setting the color mode to 255 and then picking the RGB color that you want. So pause the video and do that one. Okay, if you have been having trouble with the RGB colors, here's the final full listing. Okay, we give you that in the downloads for the Square program, so you can see exactly how it's set up. All right, so we're going to put you straight on to another challenge task here. And this time, rather than pick your own color, the client or someone wants you to use exact colors, which are maybe in their business logo uses these 3 colors. So they want a teal color, they want a gold color, and they want green color. So they've actually given you the color numbers that they want because they can look at their logo in Photoshop and figure out what the colors are. So they want 0, 153, 153, that teal color. They want gold using 255, 210, and 17 to get that exact gold color, and this exact bright green color by having max green at 255 and no red and no blue. All right, so you need to just change that program we did originally that did the 3 shapes in a row, which I think was in lesson 3, which was our second drawing lesson, and get them coming out these exact colors. Okay, so pause the video and have a go at that one. Okay, the next one is a multicolored spider web. So if you just use the plain colors, it doesn't really show up here too well, but you'll see it if you do it on your computer monitor and have these bigger. That's kind of using plain ordinary like yellow, blue, magenta. This is using some RGB colors that are a bit brighter. So we use a lighter purple so you can see the purple better, and use a lighter blue so it stands out better. So here's the RGB version right here. But first we've got to learn how to draw a spider web, okay? So to draw a spider web, this is in the downloads, and hopefully you can see this on the screen. We need to draw kind of a line going up. And the way we do this is we start at the center and we go up and we go back, okay? And then we rotate our turtle a little bit to turn it, then we go up to the end and then we go back. Rotate our turtle a bit to the side and back, down and back, down and back, and to the left there and back again, all right? And that kind of gives you these 6 little sticks coming out from the center. And once we've got them, that's the frame of the spider web, and then we can start doing the hexagons around it, all right? So that's just a repeat loop. We're going to do 20 of them. That's the number we need to do. And we've also got a turtle forward that's going to go to do each hexagon. We've got a little subroutine, a J loop here, which is just going to go forward whatever side length we're up to, because we want to start around the outside of a big side length, and then we need to be taking off 10 each time to make our hexagon smaller and smaller and smaller until after 20 repeats from the main I loop we'll get to the middle. All right, so that one's to get the red spider web, so you need to pause the video and work on that one, or get the download instructions and follow these step-by-step instructions to make the basic spider web. Okay, now to make the multicolored spider web, we've got this for next loop that's going for 20 repeats. We might just zoom in a bit here. And what we're planning to do is that it's counting from 0 to 19 to do this, all right? So if you count 0 to 19 on your fingers, you will get to 20. So when Python's counting, repeating that loop, doing it 20 times, it's not actually counting from 1 up to 20, it's counting from 0 to 19. So the first big hexagon it does is actually hexagon number 0. It's not number 1, and that's a bit hard to get your head around. And then the tiny little baby one it draws in the middle to finish off isn't hexagon 20, it's actually hexagon 19. So what we want to do here is we've got, when we're on hexagon 0, the big one on the outside, we want that to be red, and then we want to go down 10 units with that size and do a white one, then a medium RGB blue, magenta orange, our next one, our 5th hexagon as we go in and in and in and get smaller and smaller. We want to range through these colors, all right? All the way up to number 19 here, which will be actually the 20th time through the loop. And it looks best if the middle one, the last baby one in the middle, is the same size as the big one at the outside. So remember, we start on 0's red, so we finish on 19 red. So we're going to put a big long if elif inside the for loop, which is drawing all of the hexagons, the 20 hexagons, and we're going to check out what number that little I counter, the letter I counter, is up to, and change the color for that number, all right? So this is how the pseudocode looks. When I equals 0, which means we're on the first of those 20 hexagons, drawing the big one out the outside, we're just going to put pen color equals red. Otherwise, if we're up to the number 1, which is the next one in, we're going to change the pen color to white. Otherwise, if the loop counter, if we've already done these two and we're actually up to this one here, well, then we're going to go medium RG blue. If we've finished all 3 of those and we're actually on this one with our I number, because the I number, each time you do the loop, keeps going up. It goes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And that's how Python is counting, the program's counting to do all 20 little hexagons. Well, the big hexagons, and getting smaller and smaller till the baby one in the middle. That's how it's keeping count and knows to finish when it's done 20 of them, but it counts from 0 to 19, which is kind of just a computing thing you've got to get used to for all computing languages, just about. And so we keep going down until we have an otherwise if we're on that last one, if I equals 19, we want to change it back to the original color of red. So each time we do the for next loop, we need this big slab of code here with all these if otherwise, there's 20 of them, to work out what color we're supposed to be doing that hexagon, all right? So this is how we translate that pseudocode into Python code. So remember, we had for I in range 20 was what we were doing to get the 20 hexagons. So before we even draw a hexagon, we're going to check out the color. So if we're doing our first time of the 20 hexagons, we'll be on number 0, and we want the turtle color to be red. If it's doing the next hexagon white, and here's how we get that medium blue. We say turtle.color mode, so it knows, hey, we're changing over to RGB colors, and we're using 0, 1, 28, 255 to get that medium blue. Then we're doing magenta, orange, cyan. Now the light purple will show up much better than normal purple, so we're using an RGB light purple. We need to tell it we're using turtle color mode 255. We're going to give you an RGB value to work with this time, little turtle, and it's 178, 102, 255 to get that nice light purple. So we have all of these Elifs, a whole bunch of Elifs, checking out what hexagon we're up to and drawing it the right color until we get to the last one where it's red. And if you have a look on the right hand side here, see how that last one, the middle one, was red, and this next one in was actually yellow, although it's a bit hard to see that's yellow there. The next one is that really light purple. It's kind of almost like a whitey purple that we can see. And then we've got kind of our cyan, our pink one here. Then we've got that cyan, then we've got an orange one here, okay? So you can see how this, depending on which hexagon we're on, it is changing the color correctly. And that's what gives us this nice kind of rainbow kind of spider web as well, which looks a lot better and a lot more colorful and interesting. Everything that's bright and colorful is always interesting. In fact, it's totally awesome. And that's what we're trying to do in that program, all right? So you need to develop the normal red spider web, then get into this one where we change the color for each hexagon we do, and that should make the hexagon spider web. Now, if you want to change some of those colors of each hexagon, that's fine, you can do that. And now we've got a challenge task, but this time we're going to do alternating colors, all right? So we want to start off having a little baby purple one, and to make it look good, you need to end on a purple one as well, okay? So that the colors all hook up together. But then from there on, after we've done the first little baby purple one, the next one's yellow, then we want to do a purple one, then we want to do a yellow. So this one starts little in the corner and grows bigger. Then we want to go purple, yellow, purple, yellow, purple, yellow, till we get right to the end and we're doing a big purple one around the end like this. So you should already have the program that does this from the previous lesson on repeating patterns. So you need to go back and get a copy of that program, and now we're going to modify it to make it look a lot better. It looks really more 3D and much more interesting in these alternating colors. So we're just using normal yellow, but the RGB purple we're using there that stands out really nice and bright is 178, 102, 255. If you want to do different alternating colors like red and blue or green and yellow for Brazil or Australia, that's fine. You can do that. But rather than have kind of all of these if-elifs, what we do in this one is there's 25 of those squares to draw, and we just make sure that the even number ones, including 0 is an even number, they're going to be purple. And if it's not an even number at the moment for the actual particular square number we're doing, remember they're going to start at 0 and go to 24. There's 25 of them, but Python does this silly thing of counting from 0 to 24 to get the 25. So we want every even numbered one, like number 0, number 2, number 4, number 6, number 8, the 10th square, we want them all to be purple. So what you use is you use this if j% to double equals 0. Now what that does is it takes whatever number we're up to, which square we're drawing, and it divides it by 2. And if the remainder is 0, that's what percent means. It means divide by 2 and find the remainder. So if the remainder is nothing, well then we know it's an even number. So even numbers divide by 2. 2 goes into them exactly. There is 0 remainder. There's no remainder when you do that. You should know that from your basic mathematics. So what we're going to do there is, if they are even numbers, we're going to make that nice light purple color. Else, the other situation where this doesn't come out as an even number, well, that's when we want to use the plain yellow. So that will get you going from 0, purple, then number 1, when you divide 1 by 2, there's going to be a remainder of 0.5, and so it's not going to be 0 for the remainder, and so it'll go down here to the else and do a yellow. When you get to 2, it's going to do 2 divided by 2 is 1 with 0 remainder, so this is true and it'll do it purple. When you get to 3, it'll do 3 divided by 2 is 1 with a remainder of 0.5, And so because the remainder does not equal 0, it'll go down here and do yellow, and you'll get your purple, yellow, purple, yellow, purple, yellow, purple, yellow. And that's the end of the lesson. So we're drawing a new thing, the spider web in this lesson, and we're making our good old squares coming from the corner look so much better using alternating colors. And you need to do this lesson because in the next lesson, we're going to do random RGB colors, which is going to kind of be cool. We're not going to pick the colors. The computer's just going to randomly pick a color, and we'll see what happens with our drawings when that happens. It could end up totally wild. Okay, so remember the Python programming course is on PassyWorldOfICT.com/Python, or just Google on Passy's World of ICT and hit the Python tab and you'll get all of our course lessons in order. And we hope you've enjoyed this lesson because turtle drawing is a great way to learn Python. Like, we could have shown you an if-elif to work out if someone's older than 16 and they should pay a full bus fare, or whether they're less than 16 years old and they should get a half fare on the bus or something. But I think making colors with an if-elif is just so much more fun than those boring console programs. So you will be using if-elif in some boring console programs later on to make some little games like, I don't know, rock, paper, scissors, rolling dice and things like that. But this is the fun way of learning using colors. So give this video a big thumbs up because I'm sure you like it, like all of our videos. And thanks to all the people that are emailing us saying, hey, when's the next video coming out? The videos are great. They're really helping us. And make sure you get the downloads too. The downloads cost virtually next to nothing. Sort of, I don't know, a couple of chicken nuggets at McDonald's is all you have to really pay to get some downloads, which will help you out. And if you're a teacher, get the downloads for your class so you can just use all them, and the students don't even have to be distracted by YouTube watching videos, because they'll probably watch the wrong video, not this one. And remember, subscribe to our channel. Subscribe so that you know when the next video is coming out. And when that video comes out, it's going to be another totally awesome video. I think we've got 2 more turtle videos to do before we get into Python videos. And for Python, we will have a new t-shirt too. So we'll see you in the next lesson.